did you turn down your?
I did not. Well, it hasn't started yet.
Did you?
Mhm. Okay. Looks like we are live. Well, welcome everybody to Mappy Hour. This is our happy hour for those of us who love maps, also known as geocachers. So cheers, everybody. We have made it. Oops, your drink's too far when you've got a cat in hand. Well, cheers, everybody. We have made it to another Friday. Let me maximize my screen here and get settled in. Yeah, so welcome everyone. I am Lisa, Lookout Lisa, one of your hosts tonight for Mappy Hour, and our other host.
I'm JD Kid Vegas 19.
Yeah,
Man,
and Hilo
hello.
is right there. Yep. He's decided to be a lap cat for the evening. So again, welcome everyone to Mappy Hour. Tonight's topic is all about puzzles and puzzle caches. And thought we could talk about maybe some ones that you have hid or found or solved, and maybe, some unique ones that you've even been working on. We're not going to give away, solved coordinates, but we can certainly
Oh,
work together.
what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah. And then at the very end, I have a special bonus for everybody. Kilo. Hey, somebody missed me today. Um, I have a special bonus for everyone in regards to our cracking coordinate clues course that is it's in slow launch for all of my special people like the Cache Crate crew, you guys here on Mappy Hour. And then next week we actually launch to the public for the course, and we're pretty excited. We got rave reviews on our first course, the substitution course. And this one just dovetails right in with it. But we'll talk about it at the end. So yeah, and before we get to our main discussion around puzzles, we do have notes from the field. We'd love to know, what's everybody been up to in the last couple of weeks. And we give everyone 2 minutes of time to share on notes from the field. And that way everyone gets a chance to share, and then we can move on to our main topic. But before we get started with that, I do have some ground rules just to keep everything moving smoothly. For those of you that have been with us for a long time, you probably could repeat these, right behind me or with me, even echo me. But in case we have new folks joining us in the rooms, please keep yourself on mute while anyone else is talking. And if you'd like to join in the conversation in the Zoom room, raise your hand. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hey, all of our YouTube fans, Kid Vegas 19 is monitoring YouTube. And just go ahead and type into the comments if you've got a question or a comment or something that you want to join in the conversation, and he will bring it into our discussion. And then I'll call on you as in order as you have your hands raised. But occasionally you've got an answer or something that is out of order that you want to join in the discussion. So just wave at the camera, and we'll pull you in. So we keep things running along smoothly. Can treat this like you would any geocaching event. Make everything kid friendly. We could have kids in the room with us here on Zoom. We are live streaming to YouTube, our YouTube channel for Cache Advance, and then this is also being recorded and goes into our Mappy Hour hub, where you can binge watch all of the last 5 years of Mappy Hour and even search by spoken keyword. So yeah, I think those are the basics there. So I'm excited about tonight's topic.
So before we get into notes from the field, we'll let Great to Forever, who is in
YouTube.
YouTube. We'll let them go first. we hid our very first cache this last week. So
Oh,
good for us.
congratulations. Oh my gosh. That's like, your first child. So congratulations. I wonder if it's been published and love to know if there is an FTF on it already. So let us know in the chat on YouTube. And it was great
Yeah, great,
forever. Great
great
was.
two
Oh,
forever.
oh,
TWO.
I see it. Okay. I have new glasses, you guys. I'm still getting used to these new computer glasses. So things are like, are we in focus? Am I out of focus? So yeah, I might not be able to see every little thing until I get
Right.
adjusted to them.
You think how scary it is for me. Now it should knows what I look like. Ugh.
That big of a change, but a little bit of a change for new computer glasses. So cool. So I see we've got a bunch of hands already coming up. So yeah, Nancy, yeah. It's good to see you, Nancy. Welcome
Yeah.
back. Yeah. So I've got a bunch of hands already up. So let's jump right into notes from the field. So let us know in 2 minutes or less, what have you been up to? So we'll go ahead and start with Mike, and then Robert, and then Vince. Get us kicked off. Go ahead, Mike.
Actually, of the three of us, I was the last one to put my hand up.
Well, you come up first on my list.
Okay, well, anyway, yeah, last week I got a ping on my phone of a couple of new caches. The one was an interesting hide. It was in an area park. Able to tool over and get it, and it was kind of a crafty hide because by not saying where it is, I'm not giving away anything really useful in the unlikely event somebody in the area is listening. But it was actually a magnetic bolt stuck to the back of a an informational sign in the park. And all you had to do was pull it off and pry open the cache container. But the neat thing is that if you don't know what you're looking for, most people are going to take it for like a security bolt to keep people from stealing the sign. Yeah. And then the other one turned out to be in a parking lot, but I didn't find that one. After poking around the trees for the better part of half an hour, I just gave up. So I haven't checked to see if anyone else has found it yet, but
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, my limit is 20 minutes.
For looking for a
Yeah, for
cache.
looking for a cache. And
Generally, yeah.
mhm,
Sometimes it's less if we're on a schedule or have to be somewhere. But yeah, if you really want to
right.
find it, especially if you've made an effort to get there. So yeah,
Mhm.
cool. Interesting. I love that bolt idea. All right, we've got Robert next.
Hey, Robert.
Hello. Yeah, my limit for looking for a cache is an hour.
Okay.
I will endeavor to find it. I've been working this week on cache maintenance, so fixing some of my caches that went down and bring them back online, hiding some new geocaches. Recently, I discovered there was a HQ event through our library that allows us to show up to a building not too far away from the library that enables us to use their 3D printer. So, Mike,
Okay.
you'll get a kick out of this. This is a 3D printed TARDIS that I
I
plan to
love
put
it.
out as a geocache.
Wow. That's awesome. How does it open up?
There was a bottom to it, but didn't print very well. So I'll probably get the door reprinted and then get it put out there. It just didn't print very well. It kind of misprinted some, so I had to take it out, and then I'll have to reprint the thing in order to screw it back in there. It's like a little maze, so it'd be
Mhm.
like a little puzzle cache.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And then the last thing I did was I got my 40th FTF.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did it take you an hour to find it?
No, these were two little simple ones hid in a juniper bush. And if you know what you can decipher between the color of a juniper bush and the color of a pill bottle, it'll be pretty easy to find it.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Well, that's
Well,
good. Juniper
cool.
bushes can be difficult.
They know how to fight back, but if you know how to pick them up, you can pick the whole bush up and reveal what's underneath.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, cool. Congratulations on that 40.
Mhm.
I have no idea how many FTFs I have. Maybe 12. I don't know. Yeah. Have to look. All right, Vince. Good to see you, Vince.
Yeah. I've mostly been doing a lot of local caching up in the last couple of weeks. As probably few of you probably know by now, I was in the hospital the beginning part of the week because I had to have some surgery done to take care of a couple issues. So I'm kind of on the obviously, as you see, I'm now been released. I'm out and I'm now in recovery mode, and I got to behave myself for the next couple of weeks with Geo Woodstock looming because I was really nervous that that was going to be pretty much in jeopardy. But I was told that as long as I behave myself and then on the drive down there, as long as we get out of the car about every hour and a half, just so I don't get blood clots and that kind of stuff potentially that could trouble. But that shouldn't be too hard because I'm sure there's going to be a cache to find somewhere along the way down there. But mostly what I was mostly working on is I think the last time I was on, I mentioned there's that big virtual that's has like 23 stops called the Lake Michigan Tour. Um, and the weekend before I had my surgery, we had went away again, and I worked on more of the stops that are up like from the Grand Haven part of Michigan up to almost up to Traverse City. So I'd almost want to say I've got, I think, 16 of the 23 stops done. So I'm now in the home stretch. Of course, there's a lot of other geocaching to do, in between time, but I figured it was a good time to do it before we really get into the summer travel season because a lot of these locations would be hard to, yeah, try to navigate with the influx of people that is going to come in about a couple weeks. So, and then also too, yeah, I did some maintenance on some geocaches and picked up a winter series that we had hidden for the winter months and archived that and so forth. And yeah, I did actually make it down and made it down to a local event today because it's tulip time now in Holland. So somebody was hosting a meet and greet downtown. So we enjoyed a little bit of the fair food and the food wagons that they got downtown.
Nice.
Mhm.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're on the mend and you've got the thumbs up for Woodstock.
Yeah,
Yeah. We will see you there.
yes, looking forward to it.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thanks. Let's see, we've got
Nancy.
Tom and then Nancy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, on the first I hit a geocache. I have a habit of hiding a geocache on or around May 3rd every year for quite a few years. So this year I put geocache about 3/10 of a mile from where I hid my first geocache over 19 years ago, nearly 20 years ago. So the original geocache I surrounded with my geo art Boundary Spring Sun. So this one is called Boundary Spring Sunspot 2025 because it's the first one that I've put inside of the sun. And yeah, 2 days later it was found. First to find. So, and then on Sunday I wanted to get the souvenir, so I went out and found one in Bend after church. So that yep. So that's about all I've done in the last couple of weeks.
Excellent. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. I think Nancy is next up. Hey, Nancy.
Have to click all these things when you call my name. So, oh, of course. So much in only 2 minutes, so the pressure's on. So we
Yes.
got back safely from our trip to Australia and to New Zealand. We got the oldest in both, and that was a lot of fun. Our first day there, we ended up getting lost, trying to find our hotel. We're rolling around the streets with 3 suitcases, going up and down these hills because Sydney is not flat. And we finally found our hotel. We took a quick shower, went back to the metro, got off at the next stop, and a cash event owner came and picked us up at that station and took us to his event. So the very first thing we did 4 hours into our after our flight's over was go to an event. And he was hilarious because he was saying, you know, they flew all the way from Ohio just to come to my event. So had a lot of fun. His name is Calypso 62, and he had a brainstorm a few years ago to do Mate Day. So he's been trying to get the Geo May 8 Day as event. So I sponsored one yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I'm still not in the same time zone.
Yeah.
Um, and he would like to get 50 events next year. So for the people that hold events, keep that in your mind and maybe participate in that. He had 23 this year from all around the world. So he would like to up that. And I saw that Ryan Semmel was one of the people that had one.
Nice.
We got the oldest, I said, in both Australia and New Zealand, and we also got the webcam in New Zealand. So we did some big things. Very bad planning on my part. We left 3 days before the block party. So
Mm.
that was not a good idea. But we really, really had a nice time. Um, Lisa, you helped me get this number.
Oh, yeah.
It's backwards.
That's
I'm
okay
mute.
to us.
We see it correct.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I will put it in the chat also. And it's my friendship discoverable, trackable. We had 69, and don't ask me why it was 69. I think it was actually 70 and one of them got goofed up. But friends 3D printed these for me and I gave them out to people in Australia and in New Zealand. But it's a discover only, and I would love for all you guys to discover it. It's the premise is that you write a story about how you met us or how you know us, or you write a story about a great cache that you went to or great people that you've met through geocaching. And then because I had these all printed, I gave them away. They're supposed to give them to somebody else and get the same kind of story going. So, but of course, the block party in New Zealand, just people discovered it. Eh,
Mhm.
you know, so, but I highly recommend going to Australia and New Zealand. We had a great time and really got to see some nice things. And then I'll talk about a puzzle later that we tried to do in New Zealand. It was very interesting. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm. Oh, can't
So that's
wait.
it.
Well, nice.
Cool.
Thanks.
Well,
Glad you're
Oh,
back.
Mhm.
real quick, thanks. Real quick, Bob is at a meeting tonight, so he's out playing D&D, so he won't be on.
Okay.
And
Fighting those orcs. Good for
Molly will
you.
probably come around sometime.
Okay. Oh, good. But she's happy to see you guys. Yeah.
So before we move on to
Yeah.
Melissa, we
Mhm.
got an answer to your question. And yeah, our friend on YouTube, Great Two Forever, yeah, that their first cache was published and already has 4 finds.
More finds. Cool. Good job. So, well, good, good. Well, Nancy and Bob, great that you guys are back. I've been thinking about you lately. So, and excited to see you guys at Woodstock too. Yeah. All right. We've got Melissa. Oh, go
We
ahead.
did try to get on, but we were a day off
Oh.
because because there are 16 hours ahead of us.
Yep.
And yes, and when we were in Sydney, that you were 18 hours ahead of us. So yeah, it didn't work well.
Yeah, that international date line can really mess you up. It happens to you when you're in China.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we've got Melissa and then Scott.
So, my last couple of weeks have been a whirlwind of stuff, a little bit of geocaching, but our youngest son finished his freshman year, made the dean's list, um, moved into an apartment, and is literally on an airplane right now on his way to South Korea with a program with his school.
Wow.
So, and in the meantime, I've done all kinds of babysitting and I'm in my son's place with his cat. And I'm also babysitting my other three grand kitties because they're out of town. So yeah,
Wow.
but my son's apartment is very close to a DNF, and I went back and avenged that. And um I I went, well, we celebrated Mother's Day a week early, and I had a broken piece in my one present, so I went to fix it, and I stopped at a library and did a library cache on the way home. So that was nice. But my big news from Mother's Day, if I hold it up right, I have this is from my grandkids, and it has A, B, C, D, and E. I have four grandsons right now. The letter E means we're expecting a new baby.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. It's too early to tell. The baby's not due till the 1st of January. So they just found out they were pregnant. But yay.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just she said I could share.
Oh, okay. At that point, we can
So
share.
I was sick.
How exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we have next. Yeah.
Yeah, so went to Spring Fling and had a great time. Got to see Dick and and everybody, and that was a blast. Line things up. I wanted to make sure that I got a milestone, 1K milestone. So line things up so that Spring Fling could be my block party icon. Yay. And that worked out very well. But the most exciting part of Spring Fling was we had a little thing called excuse me, Cash Across Southern California. And 42 geocaches were set up in the 10 counties in Southern California. And to get to the silver level, you had to do something fairly simple. To get to the gold level, you had to find 15 geocaches, at least one in every one of those counties. And that involved 800 to 1,200 miles of driving to do that. And what was exciting is that they had ordered, and if you did that and qualified for the gold level, you got a trackable, a geocoin, and they had ordered 100 geocoins. And as we're approaching it, there's 89 have qualified, 92 have qualified, 94 have qualified. There's Dick showing his geocoin because he was one that qualified.
Okay.
On the day of, 99 people had qualified, and 98 of them were distributed at Spring Fling. So that was, and I wasn't in charge of buying or the geocoins, but it still was nice to have it all set. And yeah, so it was a block party, so it's a blockbuster coin, and on the back there's the 10 counties that you had to visit to earn the gold level.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
nice.
was
Thanks, Dick, for
fantastic.
sharing that. That's awesome. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot of work.
Mhm.
It was a lot of work. I was tracking, I was the one in charge of tracking it, or I had put myself in charge of tracking it. And That meant opening and accounting for 3,006 emails.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean out my email box. All right, well, that's it for me. Oh,
Okay.
and I did not set a cash yet this this
Oh.
month, so
Oh.
got to make sure I do that so I get that. Um, what is it? The yeah, well, the anniversary of geocaching, Hiders
Yeah.
Hiders souvenir.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Would hate to miss that.
Yeah, for you, for sure.
For sure. But for other people too, get
Yeah.
that souvenir, hide a cache.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We should work on that this
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah. We kind of have a free weekend. Kind of. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Scott. Good to hear from you. And an update on Spring Fling, our favorite event we love to hear about, and we hope to get to one of these years,
Yeah.
hopefully next year. Yeah. Life's been busy for us, but we did get some caching in
A little bit.
and working on some puzzles. One of our, so WSGA, Washington State Geocaching Association, we're divided into chapters because we're a pretty big state. And we just had elections and we have a new representative for our Inland Empire chapter. And she's been really on it and wanting to host a lot of events and do a lot of things for our local community. And we had a puzzle solving event last weekend down at Commons Place. I can't think of the first Saranac Commons. Yeah. So it's kind of a neat space. It's large inside with lots of tables, and then around kind of the outskirts of it, there's different like mini restaurants, walk ups, kind of like going to a mall fast food court, but a much higher level, much better.
Very
Nothing like a
rustic
mall.
setting.
Yeah, yeah. But really good food and breweries and
Mhm.
such. So that was fun. We got to work on some puzzles and meet in person finally a local cacher that we hadn't had a chance to meet yet. That's been putting out some really good puzzles. So got a few hints on some of his, and we were able to share a few hints of ours. So that was fun. What else have we done geocaching wise?
Oh, just those ones in Montana. On the way back from visiting my sister. My sister lived 0.3 miles from a geocache.
Yeah.
But it was on the other side of the river. So we had to go find a bridge, and so it ended up being like a 2 mile drive to get there.
Wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
This is in St. Regis, Montana, which is along I-90.
Yeah, and then like I said, I did maintenance on one of my puzzles, got it back up and running. I had a puzzle that requires you to get be able to read the metadata or EXIF data on a photo. And the original site that I pointed people to, the person is not maintaining it anymore, retired, I think, based on the hints along the way. So I had to find another service. That wasn't as easy as it. Well, I made it harder than it was, but
Hard way in,
Yeah.
easy way out. Yeah.
it was good to get that back up and running, and we'll see what people can solve it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we did find another cache or two in Superior, Montana as well. So we're moving his sister from St. Regis in with his other sister in Superior, Montana. And they're only about 20, 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes, 20 minutes apart.
Yeah, 13 miles apart.
Yeah. So a lot of work involved with moving family. It's going to be an ongoing process, but yeah, it's exciting for getting those two co-housing and yeah. If anybody wants riverfront property in Montana, let us know. It's going to be going on the market and it's gorgeous. And we also know about some riverfront property in Washington State too. literally just across the river from us here. That's going to be going on the market soon too. So let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's time to move on to our topic. I kind of
Mhm.
touched on a little bit talking about a puzzle solving event. Has anybody been to an event where that's the purpose is solving puzzles? Yeah, I'm seeing hands going up. They can be really helpful, can't they? You can, ask for hints, work together with people, and do some big brainstorming. I've been to some events way back when Woodstock was here in by Seattle in Carnation, almost Carnarvon, in
Mhm.
Carnation. They put out puzzle art and it was a big peace sign. And we all got together and divvied up the puzzles and worked on solving them together. And it was a ton of fun in this big room. Had a big whiteboard. It was kind of like following the elections as puzzles were getting solved. Number 8, cross that off. Results are in. We've got those results. And we all had agreed ahead of time, the working together, we're okay with sharing answers and solving as a group to go to get the answers. But then we had to go find them, of course, which was a ton of fun too. And lots of fun stories about that. But so yeah, puzzle solving events are a lot of fun. This one was a good one as well. And we've been to a few other ones
Mhm.
over the years. And yeah, so I guess we'll go ahead and just dive into our topic all about puzzles and mystery caches and such. So Dick has his hand up, so we'll start there.
Yeah, you asked if we'd been to an event where the puzzles were the main topic. Actually, Annette and I hosted an event down in Las Vegas. We rented a classroom at the local public library and had a 2-hour event inviting everyone to come in and talk about puzzles and get references and stuff. And one of the things we did at that event, there was, interestingly enough, we had one lady in the back of the room, and her position was basically, just give me the answer. Just give me the answer. That's all. She didn't have one. Had absolutely no interest in solving the puzzles. But anyway, what we did is we passed out a handout that I had put together, and it's about, I don't know, 5 or 6 pages long, of all these different, broken down by subject, of the different links that are available to help you solve puzzles, different references that you would use for things like doing the exif of a photograph. One section was dealing with photos, one was dealing with word and logic puzzles, another one was math problems, another one was ciphers, another one was codes. So it was all broken down like that. And we passed out, I guess, maybe 20 or 30 of those handouts. And everybody really kind of got into that a little bit. So that kind of event comes over pretty well. There is one of the local cashers over in the Seattle area here who has been putting on a lot of events. And I think just recently he had one that I've been to at least one of his where the topic was puzzles. That particular event was the first one, and it was actually geared more toward placing a puzzle, putting it together and placing it and whatnot, than it was solving it. And my sense of it was people are more interested in solving them than they are in actually putting them together, placing them. But and then the other thing I wanted to point out is if I can share, I just adopted, and I've got it in the
You're on mute. Dick, you're on mute.
sorry, inadvertently muted myself. I put the GC code in the chat. I adopted this puzzle recently. It had little maintenance issues, and the guy said, "Well, it's been there a long time. I think I'd like to archive it." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. Why not just put it up for adoption if you don't want to maintain it? It's a really good puzzle." So let me just, if I can share, I'll share the. I think this is it here. The cache page. This is This is a view of the cache page. And the idea here is that it is a kids map of the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art. And in order to solve the puzzle, you have to get a copy of this. You can actually download and print the PDF and search in this kids map for the location of the individual topics or the individual objects of art that they want to find in the puzzle. So there's a whole slug of these things, and you have to go through and solve the puzzle to find them. So it's really kind of a cool puzzle. So I'm going to try and clone that for San Diego. Excuse me, Las Vegas. So anyway, just pass that on. It's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, that's awesome. That looks complicated, but a lot of fun. Cool. Thanks, Dick. Hope you're on mute again.
Yeah, I've got, like I say, I put the GC code over here in the chat. So
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks. And JD shared it over onto YouTube. So YouTube, check the comments there for that GC. Cool. So we've got a couple more hands have flown up. I think it's Scott and then Melissa.
Actually, it's Melissa and then Scott.
Oh, okay. Melissa.
It doesn't matter as long as we get a turn. Yeah, we had a local cashier for a while who was doing a puzzle event. It was an hour at the coffee shop, and basically you brought puzzles that you might have questions about or whatever, and we, without just giving away answers, kind of worked on things. If somebody had actually done, most of the puzzles were in the area. So if somebody else had done the puzzle, they might kind of point you to, oh, look at this part of the page and see what that,
Oh, okay.
And so it was nice because it was very helpful in learning some of the basics of what you should go through to solve a puzzle. And it was a shame because we were all signed up to do another one, and then all of a sudden they just stopped. I don't know if the cashier moved away or what, but I really enjoyed them.
Well, how long ago was the last one you attended?
It was over a year ago.
Oh, okay.
It was last spring.
Okay.
So.
Well, interesting. Well, Lisa dashed off for the UPS person. Was, I think, in the house trying to take our TV or something. Is well, thanks. Yeah. So maybe we'll circle back and touch on sort of what you said about helping each other without giving it away. First, let's hear from Scott.
Well, one of the axioms that I recently have been talking about was find those things in geocaching that bring you joy and enjoy them, and then leave the rest for others to enjoy. And I will have to tell you, puzzles specifically are not something I particularly enjoy, but I have put out some puzzles that I think are fairly good. Now, they're fairly good because they're fairly easy. Nothing is hidden. I try and explain exactly how to solve it, and then let you solve it. I'm going to show you, share one of my puzzles that I'm really pretty darn proud of. Share.
All right, looks like you're on your way.
I'm on my way. So this is called In the Penal System, and I think it's kind of a cute little puzzle. What we're going to do is over here, we can make a phone call to the tip line. And then over here is a link to the California Penal Code, and all the violations that might be here. So let's listen to the tip line. Can't hear?
No,
Okay, one sec.
you may have to enable that.
Yep.
Don't ask me how, I'm not sure.
Okay, so stop sharing is the start.
Oh, no.
Okay, then share sound and optimize for video. There we go. Okay. I want to report a crime. My two neighbors are planning to burglarize a house. They have the tools to do it. The tools are in their car.
Cool.
And then with that information, you can go in and look up the penal codes and type in the penal code, and that's necessary, and it'll give you the coordinates. So I don't know, kind of fun, a little bit different. Not a lot of people have found it because it's a puzzle, but those have enjoyed it. So
Is the container then related?
the container is by the police station, and
Okay.
it's a police car. Yes.
Oh, good.
So we tried to get the theme all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the coordinates are right at the sheriff's uh, station and jail. So it is a little bit related. So
And I suppose, did you talk with the sheriff's department?
no,
Oh, okay. It's just nearby. Okay, cool.
it's nearby. It's yeah. I did not talk to the sheriff's department.
Okay.
All right.
I love that. That you worked in some audio and gave folks what to do with this information, and then they put it all together. So yeah, well done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and if you went to Certitude, you see that there's about a 5-to-1 incorrect answers. But as you are answering incorrectly, it gives you hints for directing you towards the correct answer.
Okay,
Okay.
nice. Mhm.
So, all right. Well, thanks for letting me share.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think we've got Nancy next.
Again, I have to push all these buttons to get going here. So Bob and I tried to do our last 3 days. We drove from Wellington, New Zealand up to Auckland because we were leaving from Auckland. And we meander and do caches along the way. So we stopped at this one and I put the GC code in there. That was at a Marine base in the base was in 1941 and 1942. Um, and they talked about these pop-up huts that they made for all the military coming over, all the Marines coming over, and it was a beautiful, beautiful place. And it was so interesting. And there was an adventure lab there. There was a traditional cache, and then there was this puzzle cache. So we tried to do this puzzle cache, and eventually we gave up. But we read every sign 10 times. We did everything, and the cache owner was very disappointed when I put a DNF on it and wrote to me and says, "Well, our puzzle caches, you're supposed to solve them at home and then come out and find them." And it's like, okay, some puzzle caches are that way, but this is a memorial to the Marines that were there, and it was a physical place that you really needed to go to. And it's like, yeah, you're supposed to go to this website to get all the answers. We were very, very confused by all of this because it's like, if you're there, wouldn't that just be a field puzzle and you get the information off the signs? But apparently the page, the web page that they give you has different information than what the signs do. So it's like, this is the weirdest, and it was such a shame. It's like, I was so glad we were there because I never knew, that a Marine base popped up in New Zealand um for the United States and stuff. And they talked about on one of the boards how um the local men had no uh, chance of getting the local women anymore because of all these Americans coming in and these suave Americans that have traveled and stuff. It was hilarious. I mean, it was a really, really cool, well done memorial with a flagpole and these huts, just faces of the huts and what they kind of looked like. And then they actually had one of the huts over that was the Adventure Lab stop that we went to. And like I said, the traditional was in this little grove of trees between the two memorials. I was like, what a shame that this cash owner, like, to me, like, make it a field puzzle type of
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
So we went back and forth with the cash owner about, well, we've done field puzzles before, and we certainly thought we were going to get this traveling through. We're actually here at the site, and neither one of us had good data signal. And so Bob didn't have it at all. I had an eSIM card so that I could look things up, but I had no clue that I needed to look things up. It
Yeah.
was never
No.
mentioned on the cache page or anything that you need to look the answers up on this site. So it was weird.
Hmm.
It kind of threw us off.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, what you were sharing kind of dovetails with our topic that we had 2 weeks ago, which was about international caching
oh,
and how
oh,
some, customs or
mhm,
ways of doing things in certain areas, regions, countries, counties, what have you, are different. Um,
mhm.
so yeah, just gotta roll
Oh,
with
that
it.
was very obvious in
Yeah.
where we were. No, we didn't do any park and grabs, and there's no lamppost caches anywhere. Um, we were lucky enough with that Calypso 62. He put out caches in Sydney called TFTC. I have to think. Bob knows it and I have to really think about it. Um, Totally findable caches for tourists,
Yeah.
TFTC. And they're all in touristy spots that he puts them in, and they're not hard. But they're not park and grabs, but they're not hard and
Okay.
stuff. And
Nice.
what a great concept. He had hundreds of these things, and that's what we got a lot in Sydney. But yeah, we were really just thrown off by that one puzzle. So,
Hmm.
and then a little bantering bit back and forth between the cash owner and ourselves. So that was not good.
Oh, well, yeah, at least it brought you to the location.
Yeah.
So there was that for the win for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've had, hands come up.
So it's Vince. Vince has been waiting a while. And
Okay.
then Scott and then Dick.
Okay, well, as you probably saw, I put a couple links up in the chat there on a couple puzzles that I've hidden. And I've had this happen several times. I don't know if anybody else has had this happen. I'm sure you have, where you've traveled somewhere else or you went to another area and you've solved the puzzle and wow, that's a real cool puzzle, whatever. So then I turn around and I bring in a version of it back into my local area. And one of them was it's a puzzle I got called Go For It. And basically it was one I found a similar puzzle like that puzzle cache near the Frankenmuth area here in Michigan. And basically what it is the puzzle page gives you like a bunch of waypoints as all it does. Like A is this and B is this. Well, basically what you end up having to do is you map those coordinates, and then if you put it in Google Satellite View, all of a sudden you notice that the waypoint lands right in the middle of a golf course green. Well, then after obtaining like a scorecard of the nearby golf course, you'll be able to figure out what green that is that you've landed on. And of course, now as you're probably that's where you get your A and your B and your C. So I thought, oh, that was pretty cool. And it was actually a puzzle I was actually able to solve myself. So I was able to, I'm really proud of those because I'm puzzle challenged too. But when I get a puzzle and I actually get it figured out, you know, it's pretty cool. Well, one of the other ones I did is I found I've got a puzzle cache out there and it's just called Michigan. And basically all you just got to do is it gives you a list of county seats. And then what you just got to do is, you look at the county seats and you figure out what county that it's the county seat of. And then you got to find out then what number. I do give you a map reference, but otherwise, basically what it is, you got to figure out what county it is. And then when you bring up a list of all the Michigan counties that are in alphabetical order, it will obviously have a number attached to it.
Wow. Those can be so challenging.
Yeah, like I said, I found a similar cache like that down in Indiana somewhere, and it was called Indiana. So, after I was able to, because I was taking a geocaching trip down there and I think, here's a neat puzzle cache that I had solved. So, yeah, so I've had that happen a couple times where I've stumbled on a good idea somewhere else and I'll bring it back over here. So if anybody wants to try the ones that I've mentioned, I did put the links in the chat. If anybody wants to try them, wants to see if they can figure them out. If you want to post, just go ahead and post a note and say, hey, I solved it. I'll be there someday to find it.
I love the golf course one. So, which green you're on and we've got the fake golf balls. That would make an awesome find, for the cache container for that as well. So you might have to do that one.
Okay.
Yeah, put it together. Thank you for the idea. Appreciate it. All right.
So we have Scott and then Dick.
So just kind of tagging in on what Melissa said, and that's, what's the difference between a puzzle cache and a multi-cache? And I think a good rule of thumb, not for every specific example, people will come up with different examples, but a mystery cache, you basically have to go to the posted coordinates. And then a puzzle cache, basically, you don't have to go to the posted coordinates. You could do it from home or some other way.
Okay.
And again, I think that's just a pretty good rule of thumb on how to distinguish one from the other. And that's it.
That makes a lot of sense. So for the multi, you have to start where it's posted and then gather some sort of information. Yeah.
Field puzzle. Yeah.
Like a field puzzle, basically. Yeah. Which can be confusing. I've seen a lot of discussion on the differences between a field puzzle and a multi-cache.
Yeah.
And luckily we have that attribute you can use as well. So people will have a clue as to what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah. Very
Cool.
good.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, we've got Dick next.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what you just said. And what Scott said makes a lot of sense, differentiating between multis and puzzles. But now that you mention it, if you think about it in the term of a field puzzle, sometimes there's, you could almost say a field puzzle where you have to start off by going to a certain place and getting information because it's a field puzzle. It's almost like a multi. And that there's a little confusion right there. It could be a little, could go either way, I think, maybe on some of these where there are field puzzles where it says go here and you'll find something in a field puzzle to answer the question. I don't know. Scott's point, I think, is very well taken. When you have to go somewhere, it should be a multi, I think, even if it's a field puzzle. That would be the way I would look at it. The other thing I was going to say is I mentioned earlier that I had produced a document that I had passed out, and I was going to share just a quick look at this thing here. Okay. This is an 11-page document for puzzle solving tools, broken down with references and links for different tools for different types of puzzles. So it's 11 pages long. some of you probably don't need this, but others might want it. If anyone wants a copy of this document, I guess I could take the I guess I could take the formatting off. And for some reason, I'm on the page and I'm looking at the formatting. But anyway,
A word.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a Word document, and I was looking at the formatting and I forgot to just turn it off. But anyway, if anybody wants this, a copy of this, send a message to Skyhawker in the geocaching message system with your email address, and I'll send you a copy. Okay. Just wanted to open it.
Yeah, as you were whizzing by, I think I saw the site that quit on me. I had to replace it.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, and as a caveat, these were I tried to go through and make sure they're good sites, but as time goes by, you
Oh,
know how
yeah.
these are, they come and go. So I won't make any representation that they're all active.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
So Dick, what I might suggest you do is save that as a Google document,
Mhm.
and then it can just be a link that you can send out to people, and then you could also update it as you needed to update it as a Google document. It would always be up to date.
Okay, I've never used the Google Doc vehicle before as a way to get information out, but I'll take a look at it, Scott. Good suggestion.
Yeah.
All right.
I was actually thinking the same thing. Just make it a shareable Google document. And you can turn your Word document into a Google document easily enough.
And then when you share it, just make sure you
Mhm.
share it so that people can view it, not edit it.
Right. That's important. Thank you.
I was just going to say that.
Thanks, Lori. Cool. Anybody else want to share about puzzles? Some cool ones that they found. Gadget caches also do fall into this category. There's been some discussion in the chat around Mountain Goat said that typically field puzzles are something like a gadget cache as well. So, everything is right there at the posted coordinates, but there's still something you have to do to be able to access the log, which it's not, you haven't made a found until you put your ink or lead on the actual log. That's the one rule that we can talk about. So,
So Mike has his hand up.
oh, okay, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, well, since you mentioned a gadget cache would qualify as a puzzle of sorts, I've mentioned this before, but maybe not everybody's heard it. If it's still there, there is an 8-foot tall TARDIS replica behind a veterinary office in West Bend, where when you open the door where the phone would be on a real police box, there is a handcrafted Simon game, and you have to play the game to the computer's satisfaction before it unlocks the door. It took me around 20 minutes.
Oh, good Lord. Or good time, Lord, I should say. Is that West Bend where the Cache Bash is? Wisconsin?
Probably, I'm not sure. I mean, West Bend, Wisconsin, Indiana, whatever. I got there. I went and found it when I was going to be in the area just a couple of weeks after Joshua put up his video about that cache.
Right.
Okay.
I said, I have to go find that.
Yeah.
The only time I've actually videoed myself doing a cache find, because, like I say, finding it isn't the hard part. Getting in, that's tricky.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Seems like we did something like that in, I'm going to say Denver. One similar when we were there for Woodstock in Denver.
In the alley?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It
Mhm.
seemed really sketchy, but it wasn't. Yeah, it just seemed like it was. But it was a really cool cache. And speaking of gadget caches, Geo Woodstock is in West Virginia, and guess who else is in West Virginia? West Virginia Tim. He has some amazing gadget caches. So if you're going, be sure to carve out some time to do some of those. But
So
I
we
do
have-
have a hand up.
Can I get a question in? We got a
Yeah.
question from Great Two Forever, who's asking, why are challenge caches the same icon as puzzle caches?
That's a really good question. And I really wish that we had a separate icon for them, and we don't.
Well, while somebody out there
Mhm.
is hitting up their AI for this answer, let's go to Vince and then
And then we'll get to the answer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Vince, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna follow up on Mike's that puzzle cache that he found. It's actually it's in the suburbs of Milwaukee. And I was there about maybe 6 years ago with my daughter. And fortunately, my daughter was the Simon Says expert, as she was able to, we were able to get into the cache, believe it or not, on the first try, first run through, because it's a sequence of Simon Says lights, and it gets progressively harder and harder until you got to remember a sequence of 10 blinking lights and you got to repeat them in the same order. Otherwise you start over. And yeah, this particular puzzle cache, maybe if I can find the GC of it, I'll share it. But it's got close to maybe 1,000 favorite points now, so it's really climbing.
Oh my goodness. That sounds
That's-
complicated, yet really fun.
So Jay and I posted the coordinate already.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I like that answer.
From Jim?
No,
Oh.
yeah, Jim.
Mhm.
Mystery caches are the catch-all category for things that don't fit anywhere else, like challenge caches.
Or
And Lori-
gadget or night.
Lori said night caches.
Because
Mhm.
often night caches are really
They all have attributes.
that's true. They do, don't they?
Hmm.
There's a night cache attribute. There's a field puzzle attribute. There's a challenge attribute now.
Yeah, it's required on all challenge caches. And not allowed to be anywhere else.
Yeah. Since that requirement came up. Yeah. For older caches, though, caches that have been around before those new requirements, that may not be the case, but yeah.
Well, it was 2016 when that changed, so it's been a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has been.
Yeah, which reminds me,
It seems like yesterday to me too.
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. Like, oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, and Houston,
thank you.
Texas, Dave just joined up.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, hello from Texas. Awesome. Good to see Texas on the house.
You generally can learn some really unique stuff with the puzzle caches. And when I first started, there was one. I don't even remember how to solve it, but I do remember what I learned, and it it was pronounced, I think, fish for the cache, but fish was spelled Ghoti.
Oh, yeah.
And so for the longest time, that's how I'm reading it. Goatee for the cache. What? And then go through the description, and the author is, the phonetics of GH, and then the combination of TO, to get the S sound, and how I can be many different sounds.
Mhm.
And when it's all said and done, now you're fish for the cache, and that somehow you found the coordinates that way. And so this was, like I said, when I first started, so this was around 2007, 2008. And I remember that.
I remember that
Yeah.
cache too. Yeah. And what is this? Yeah, learning new words, new vocabulary. Yeah, definitely something fishy about that. Yeah, exactly. Good one, Mike. Really good. We caught it.
And then I would like to relate the worst case scenario that is possible with puzzle caches that I experienced just this week, which one, we went to this puzzle store, and okay, this guy put out this
Multi-step.
well, it has to deal with Fibonacci numbers.
Fibonacci.
Well, it's not Fibonacci according to the TED Talk guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Fibonacci.
yeah, and I had no idea what that was, so I had to learn about those.
Yeah.
And then there's a corresponding theorem or whatever from Zufendorf that then numbers these numbers, and you have to learn all this and then put it all together to get the coordinates. And it only worked for the west coordinates. How do you get the north coordinates? Well, the north coordinates were an EXIF thing. I had just fixed mine. And so I thought, well, let me look at his EXIF. And yep, there it is. Solve. First try.
Mhm.
And it's out in towards where her folks live.
Mhm.
Next time we're out there, we'll go get it.
That's why we were
Yeah.
wanting to solve that one, because
Yeah.
we wanted to clear my hometown.
Yeah. And then yesterday, in my notifications, the author of the CO temporarily disabled this cache. The container's gone. It's going to take a while to replace it. And I, oh, okay. Well, then 8 hours later, he
Re-enabled it?
re-enabled it, looked at it. He had to move the cache. And he says, sorry, if you have solved it, you now have to resolve it to get the new chords. And so I was like this close to getting Fibonacci and Zuckendorf out of my head, but nah, they come running back.
Mhm.
And the funny part is the new location is about at the doorstep of her folks' house. So
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
It's really close.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
so yeah, that it just I'm thinking not that many people had solved it.
No, I think only 2 or 3
And
finders.
yeah, there are 2 or
Mhm.
3 finders.
Mhm.
And then he knows the list of the people who solved it from the certitude. He used that.
Mhm.
He could have just messaged us and said, here's your new chords.
Oh, no. That'd be too simple.
Yeah.
You really gotta want it. If you didn't get it early, you gotta
Yeah.
work a little bit harder for it.
Exactly.
So next time we're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So Dick.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment regarding what JD was just talking about. I've run into this before, and occasionally you'll find one that's been moved like that, and they put in it's got new coordinates, but there's nothing on the cache page that tells you that.
Oh,
And so
no.
what I was going to say was, if you're putting a cache out, if you ever do puzzle caches and place one and you have to move it, edit the cache page in a way that notifies the people who may have found it or solved the puzzle sometime prior that, hey, on this date, as of this date, the cache has been moved. If you solved it prior to that date, be advised that the old solution has changed. You may want to run through it again and to get the new coordinates or something to that effect. Or you've got the old solution, text me with the old solution and I verify you've got it. I'll give you the new solution, something like that. But let them know, because it's really frustrating. We just had one here last weekend where we went out and thrashed around, and after about 15 or 20 minutes, I got looking further down the logs and realized that somebody we knew had said, yeah, we just found it. And the way we found it is I realized I didn't have the right coordinates anymore, because I tried to run my coordinates again through the geochecker through Certitude, and Certitude wouldn't come up and give me a green.
No.
So that was his clue and I had the same experience. I said, oh, geez, maybe my coordinates are off, but I know I checked it. And yep, Certitude says, nope, you're wrong. Jeez.
Yeah, that's not right. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, there would be a log posted when the cache was moved. That would be a log, but it could be definitely
That could be
far
way
buried.
down. Yeah.
So I
Well,
agree.
that's the thing. See, the cache owner did not put a right note
Right.
or anything. There was no indication that had happened. Because I scrolled down through there looking for the cache owner's note to see if there was any logs from the cache owner that indicated he might have moved.
Scott, you've got something there?
I do. If he changes the final, that does not change that does not put a notification on
Oh,
the
yeah,
cache
that's
page,
right.
only if you change the posted coordinates.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, that
That's
makes
right.
sense. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so then you definitely do need to,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
make
the
a
cache
note.
owner, the cache owner needs to do a maintenance note and write in the cache itself saying, hey, I moved the finals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this guy was
Mhm.
it was right in the cache page itself. They said, "Hey,
The
this has changed."
description.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Cool, thank you for that. I hadn't thought about that being,
Mm-hmm.
where the final was moved, not the
Yeah.
posted coordinates, because that,
Because
there's, oh, that's logged on
at
the cache page.
geocaching.com, your
Mhm.
privacy is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep that secret.
Yeah, I guess so. Good point.
Melissa.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen. I had solved a puzzle, and about a year later, I was in the area where I'd solved it, and I was out there going, there is nothing here, but people had found it. And so I messaged the cash owner, and they were like, oh, did you solve that a while ago? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, we had to change something. And she right then gave me the new coordinates. So, I mean, because I was there and I had solved it. And so she did the right thing and said, oh, here, these are the coordinates you need to go to.
Yeah.
So, but at least so often you don't hear from a cash owner while you're actually still there.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no
yeah.
kidding. Yeah.
That's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, really rare. Because yeah,
Yeah.
those emails or messages, when do you see them?
Yeah.
Mhm.
May not be for a week. So awesome. You were lucky. Yeah, lucky to have a friendly cash owner that shared their, they knew you'd solved it. So, here's the rest of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm afraid to say that drinks are full price now. They have been for like 12 minutes, I think. Oh, 13 minutes even. So, as promised, I do have a special gift for all of you guys in our Mappy Hour for hanging out with us and contributing to our education and entertainment and friendship over the years. So we have just privately launched our latest course, which is the coordinates. It's cracking coordinate clues course. It really should have been the first one, but oh, there's a kitty. Oh, pet check sneaking in too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Because geocaching is a location-based game, obviously, and coordinates are the foundation of geocaching. And although there's so many different ways to represent coordinates, to manipulate coordinates and such, and that really works into solving puzzle caches. So once
Mhm.
you get a handle on perhaps the type of cache, you may have to go through another additional change, or it could be something as simple as UTM to how the coordinates are presented to us in geocaching format to make that switch. So this course is all about that. And we are offering you got 30% off on the course if you would like that. So let me get that information. I think I still have it in my, yeah, here's the link. So next week, Tuesday, actually, next week is when we're going to be launching to the public, but everything's there. We've already had some folks sign up. If you are, I know some of you guys are members of the Cache Crates. So you would have received an email from me, I think yesterday. And we also sent one out to, or we'll be sending one out to folks that were members of our first puzzle solving course, which was all about substitution. So you get a discount there as well. But this one is for 30% off, which is the same as the Cache Crates membership. So that is the link to the sign up page, and that will give you a lot of information about it. It's self-paced. There's nothing you need to attend. It's not like coming to Mappy Hour live to get your trainings. It's all pre-recorded and ready to go. But let me get you the
And
code.
so
Go ahead while I'm looking up the code.
this applies even to Houston, Texas Dave, who's enjoying a nice night on the back patio eating dinner with the family.
Sure. And I believe that is
Is
the
that a link or
correct.
what? Yeah, that's the correct one.
Yeah. So this is the coupon code there that you would plug in at the offer there. And I can give you a direct link that takes you right to the offer page, but then you don't get to read everything about the actual offer. But if you know you want it, because I think it's pretty good. It's a collaboration with Mr. Long. Some of you guys might know colleague Long, who wrote the book on puzzle caching. And let's see here. If I click into this, I can get the actual link. Just a sec here. Discount link is copied. There you go. And that takes you right to the sign up page. And then we also have another offer there too. If y'all missed our first course, it's still out there, of course. It's lifetime access for anybody. And it's $10 off if you wanted to bundle these two together. So you get 30% off on our coordinates course and then $10 off. They're $37 each. And again, you get lifetime access. There are each about 10 to 11 videos. There's workbooks. This coordinate one also has a sample puzzles that you can practice puzzles that you can work on. And then we also have a solution or answer sheet too. And you get to earn badges going through, which is really fun that we've added to these last two courses. So as you go along and complete different aspects of the course, you earn a badge. Kind of like getting a souvenir in geocaching speak. So those are fun too. So that's that. So I wanted to be sure to give you guys this opportunity to get 30% off. It will expire. Oh, let me get the expired time. That one doesn't last forever. The 17th actually is how long this particular discount goes. And if you're on our email list, you will be receiving lots of emails from us next week as we launch this to the public. But if you've already bought it or are enrolled in the course, that takes you out of the email list, so you won't be receiving all those emails. If you don't want to hear about it, just delete them. No worries, no hard feelings. I get it. A lot of us are already expert puzzle people. So, but I think this one's going to be a fun one for folks that want to get a deeper understanding on how coordinates work. And Coley really goes into a lot of information about all the different coordinate systems and then how to use them for solving puzzles and potentially hiding puzzles as well too. So it's good information that you can use different ways for sure. And I'm seeing lots of people saying me.
Yep.
People asking about who's going to Woodstock.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's switch that to that topic. Yeah, so Woodstock, we're going to. We just made all of our flight arrangements last weekend.
And boy, will our arms be tired.
Yeah, it's a long ways from here. Yeah. So we'll be getting in. We're going to go in through Pittsburgh. And then we rented Melissa, and we rented an Airbnb actually. Hotels were getting a little thin, and we found a nice little studio apartment. You just need to sleep, right? There's plenty of other things to do going to Woodstock. And we will be vending most of the day, Friday and also Saturday. So 2 days we'll be there, not selling merchandise, but we'll be selling our, signing people up for any of our subscriptions, the Cash Crate, the Hero Crate, the Cash Track Club, the Cashkins Club, the T-shirt Club, and not the Seattle Mariners T-shirt Club, but the geocaching one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Talk about the licensing fees for that.
Thank you. And then of course also our courses that we have. So come hang out with us. We'd love to see you guys. And that also means that Mappy Hour is going to be when we're all there at the event. I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm definitely open to suggestions. Our little studio apartment is going to be way too small to host a Mappy Hour unless like 2 people show up. They'd say that has Wi-Fi, but who knows? So we would love to know if somebody has some ideas as to where we might be able to all connect and do Mappy Hour, live and in person, which is so much fun to be able to hang out with you guys and meet some of you all that we haven't had a chance to meet in person yet. And Lori's saying, yeah, it's red eye to Pittsburgh. Melissa, go ahead.
Ask Mark if he has a suggestion. Troop is
Who?
where to. Mark Webb, Troop is.
Okay.
He's one of the really in charge of this thing.
Okay.
Okay.
And he knows everywhere down there. He might have a suggestion where we could meet.
All
Okay,
right.
cool. I'll reach out. Yeah, my contact is just for the vendors. And I got to say that they are super organized. I mean, I've had communication for months now about what to expect, and I already have a map and I know about load in, and very different from how most megas run, except for last year. Last year's was really good too. Well, megas and gigas.
Well, so this will be the second Giga related Mappy hour.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Canada was the first one.
that's right. It was. I was
Mhm.
thinking Cincinnati, but it didn't fall. That was
Mhm.
pre-pandemic. So before Mappy Hour.
Yeah.
BMH before Mappy Hour.
So
Cool. Thank you. That's a good suggestion. Dick, go
Dick
ahead.
has his hand up. I don't know if Dick.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I saw that there's a lot of people going that are here tonight. If you haven't seen it yet, we're leaving on next Thursday, the 15th, for Atlanta, and then swinging up through all the states and getting a bunch of oldest caches on the way to Morgantown.
Yay.
It won't be there till the 21st. But on the 18th, we're going to be at the West Virginia's oldest, which is a 6.5 mile ATV ride up to the cache from Appalachian Outpost. If you haven't seen it yet, the company that we're renting from apparently has figured out that there's a lot of geocachers going to be in the area. And on one of the geocache or one of the Geo Woodstock, I don't know if it's a Facebook page or the homepage or whatever it is, they are offering a guided ATV trips to the oldest cache in West Virginia at 3 separate times on the 22nd and the 23rd only. On those 2 days, they're offering guided tours up to the oldest cache at I think 10, 2, and 5 or something like that in each of those 2 days for $100 a person. So if you are inclined to want to get the oldest in West Virginia, and if that fits in your schedule, just be aware that that's available, and it's a good deal because we're on the 18th, we're renting a 4-person ATV for over $400. So $100 a piece is not a bad deal. It's like I say, it's a 6.5 hour trip up and back. I mean, 6.5 mile, excuse me, trip up and back from where they launch from. Anyway,
Oh, fun. We'll have to look into that.
It's almost like an excursion.
Yeah. Like, from a cruise excursion. Yeah. So we're flying up Wednesday.
Wednesday the 21st.
Yeah. And, it takes all day to get there and then all that from here. So that gives us Thursday. And then I'm going to be tied up Friday and Saturday. And then we don't go home until Monday.
Yeah.
End of day Monday. We've got all Monday to work our way back up to Pittsburgh. Turn in the rental rig, and we get home like midnight. We gained 3 hours coming home. So
Now that's the thing. You said it takes all day to get there. It actually takes all day plus 3 hours to get there.
Yeah, because we lose 3 hours. Yeah, flying east from those of us from the West Coast.
Now,
So cool.
just want to, did you see Lori's? Lisa, I have a question for you after this.
Oh,
Make sure
okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Lori, stay online and we'll shut it down for everybody else, and then you can ask me your question.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I did see it, but it flew by.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots. Chat's been active. Cool. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up then. Is there anything else in chat? Nope. And you got everything posted over to YouTube that they need their information there. That coupon code. Yep. So yeah, it is May Crate 30, all put together, all upper caps, May Crate 30. And that gives you 30% off of our course for cracking coordinates clues. Cracking coordinate clues. Yeah, that's not easy to say. As you hear me tongue twist over it in the welcome video when you do get into the course. So cool. Well, thanks. Good to see everybody. Good to see folks back in the States and back out of the hospital
Yeah.
and online and doing well. And good to see you all in person, hopefully, in 2 weeks. And we'll figure something out and we'll let you all know. We'll keep the communication open as to where we can all connect in person if you're able to join us.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks,
Yeah.
YouTubers.
Yeah, for sure. Good to see everyone on YouTube and here on Zoom. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share. And let's see here.